I watched my son disappear into the old performing arts building, the one I'd driven past 1,000 times without a second thought. 16 years old, and I didn't know where he went after school. Didn't know who he talked to. Didn't know anything that mattered. But as I followed him through those doors and heard the music pouring from the auditorium, I realized the worst truth of all. A stranger knew my son better than I did. Let me back up. My name is Dominic Hale, and on paper, I'm successful. Billionaire successful, the kind of success that gets you on magazine covers and speaking invitations from institutions that charge six figures just to attend. I built a tech finance empire from nothing, turned algorithms into gold, made decisions that moved markets and affected thousands of lives. But that Tuesday afternoon in October, sitting in my corner office 70 floors above Manhattan, I realized I couldn't answer a simple question. Noah seemed in good spirits when he left for school this morning, Patricia said, setting my afternoon coffee on the desk. She'd been my assistant for 15 years, knew my schedule better than I did, and had a way of mentioning my son that always carried the faintest note of reproach. I looked up from the acquisition report I'd been reviewing. This morning? Yes, sir, around 7:15. He was humming something while he made toast. The detail struck me cold. I hadn't seen Noah that morning. Hadn't seen him the morning before either. Our schedules existed in parallel universes, mine starting before dawn with international calls, his beginning whenever 16-year-olds dragged themselves from bed. He's been busy after school lately, Patricia continued, straightening papers that didn't need straightening. Good to see him engaged in something. Engaged in what? She paused, looking at me with those knowing eyes that had watched me parent, or fail to parent, for 8 years. I assumed you knew, Mr. Hale. I didn't know. God help me, I had no idea what my son did after school, where he went, who his friends were, what occupied his time between the moment his driver dropped him at Ashford Academy's gates and when he returned to the penthouse for whatever solitary dinner our chef had prepared. Patricia left me alone with that realization, and a coffee I no longer wanted. I turned my chair toward the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Somewhere down there, Noah was living a life I knew nothing about. When had that happened? When had the gap grown so wide that my own assistant knew more about my son's daily routine than I did? The answer, of course, was 8 years ago. 8 years, 2 months, and 14 days, to be precise. The day Elizabeth died. The memory hit like it always did, sudden, sharp, stealing my breath. Elizabeth at 34, vibrant and alive one moment, gone the next. An aneurysm, the doctors said. Nothing anyone could have done, as if that made it easier, as if medical. Terminology could soften the horror of your wife collapsing at the piano, your 8-year-old son screaming for help you couldn't give. I'd made a promise at her funeral, standing there in my black suit with Noah's small hand clutching mine. I'd sworn to take care of him, to be enough for both of us, to make sure he never felt alone. Instead, I'd buried myself in work, turned grief into spreadsheets, loss into acquisitions, pain into profit, built walls so high that not even my own son could scale them. And now he was 16, nearly a man, and I barely knew him. I looked at my calendar. Back-to-back meetings until 7, dinner with Tokyo investors at 8, early morning call with London at 5 a.m., the same pattern that had defined every day for nearly a decade. When was the last time I'd had dinner with Noah? Really sat down with him, asked about his day, listened to his answers? I couldn't remember. The thought made me physically ill. I pressed the intercom. Patricia, clear my afternoon. Silence. Then, carefully. Sir, you have the board presentation at 3 and the... Cancel it. Reschedule everything. Something's come up. Is everything all right? No. Everything was profoundly, devastatingly wrong. But what I said was, I need to check on something important. I left the office 20 minutes later, ignoring the shocked stares of my executive team as I walked past conference rooms full of people waiting for me. Let them wait. Let them wonder. For once in 8 years, they could function without me for an afternoon. The October air hit me as I exited the building, crisp, carrying the first hints of the winter to come. I climbed into my car, a black Mercedes that cost more than most people's houses, and drove toward Ashford Academy. The irony wasn't lost on me. I sat on Ashford's board of trustees, donated generously to their endowment, could probably name every building on campus because my name was on half of them. But I couldn't remember the last time I'd actually set foot on the grounds, seen the school where my son spent his days. I parked across the street at 2:45, 15 minutes before dismissal. Felt ridiculous sitting there like some paranoid father from a television drama. But ridiculous was better than ignorant, and I'd been ignorant too long. The bell rang at 3. Students poured from the building, a river of navy blazers and plaid skirts, the uniform of Manhattan's elite. I scanned the crowd, searching for Noah's face. Almost didn't recognize him when he emerged. When had he gotten so tall? He had to be nearly 6 feet now, with Elizabeth's dark hair and something of her grace in how he moved. Headphones in, backpack slung over one shoulder, walking with a confidence I didn't remember from the awkward 14-year-old I occasionally glimpsed at breakfast. He didn't head toward where our driver waited with the other vehicles. Instead, he turned left, walking in the opposite direction with clear purpose. I waited until he'd made it half a block, then followed on foot. Left the Mercedes behind, too distinctive, too likely to be recognized. Just another man in an expensive suit on a Manhattan sidewalk, unremarkable among thousands. Noah walked 3 blocks, then turned onto a side street I'd never noticed, despite driving past it hundreds of times. The buildings here were older, shabby in a way that spoke of funding that never quite materialized and maintenance deferred too many times. He stopped at a weathered brownstone with a faded sign. Riverside Performing Arts Center. Performing arts? Noah had never mentioned any interest in performing arts, never mentioned theater or dance or music beyond the occasional song playing too loud in his room. Certainly never mentioned spending his afternoons at some community center that looked like it predated the Revolutionary War. I watched him climb the worn steps and disappear inside. Stood there on the sidewalk, trying to reconcile what I'd just seen with what I thought I knew about my son. Came up empty, so I followed him inside. The interior matched the exterior. Old but loved. Student artwork covered every available wall space. Bulletin boards announced upcoming performances with hand-lettered signs. The floors were scuffed linoleum. The paint was peeling in corners, but everything was clean, cared for. Voices echoed from somewhere deeper in the building. I followed the sound down a hallway lined with empty classrooms. After-school hours, apparently used by community programs rather than regular classes. Then I heard it. Music. Piano music, specifically. Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, Opus 9, number 2, Elizabeth's favorite piece. My feet stopped moving. My breath stopped moving. Everything stopped except that music, pouring through the hallway like water, like memory, like grief I'd spent 8 years trying to outrun. She used to play that piece late at night when she couldn't sleep. I'd wake to find her at the piano in our living room, eyes closed, fingers dancing across keys, completely lost in Chopin's melancholy beauty. Sometimes I'd watch from the doorway, not wanting to interrupt. Sometimes she'd sense me there and smile, patting the bench beside her. The music I was hearing now was flawless, professional level, heartbreaking in its technical perfection and emotional depth. I moved toward the sound like a man in a dream. The auditorium doors stood slightly ajar. I looked through the gap, and my entire world tilted sideways. Noah sat at a grand piano on the stage, completely absorbed in the music he was creating. His posture was perfect. His hands moved with a confidence and skill I'd never known existed. This wasn't a hobby. This wasn't casual interest. This was talent. Real, exceptional talent. But it was the woman standing beside the piano who made my breath catch for an entirely different reason. She was beautiful. That was my first thought. Early 30s, black, with natural hair pulled back from a face that radiated intelligence and warmth. She wore professional clothing, a burgundy blouse and black slacks, but there was nothing corporate about her presence. She watched Noah play with an expression I recognized from 1,000 memories. The way Elizabeth used to watch him when he was small, like he was the most precious thing in the world. The woman nodded at certain passages, smiled at others, her whole body engaged with the music, not just listening, truly hearing. Noah finished the piece. The last notes hung in the air like smoke. "Beautiful, Noah," the woman said, and her voice matched everything else about her. Warm, genuine, encouraging. "You've really internalized the emotional progression. Your mother would be so proud." My hand gripped the doorframe. She knew about Elizabeth. This stranger knew about my dead wife, was invoking her memory with my son, and I had no idea who she was. "You think so, Ms. Wells?" Noah's voice cracked slightly, vulnerable in a way I never heard when he spoke to me at all. "I know so. Now, let's work on the Rachmaninoff passage for your audition piece." Audition piece? What audition? I stood in that hallway, tears burning my eyes, watching my son's entire hidden life unfold before me. He played piano. Exceptionally well. He was preparing for some kind of audition. He spent his afternoons here, in this building I'd never heard of, with this woman I'd never met, living a life I knew absolutely nothing about. And she, this Ms. Wells, spoke to him about his mother, about Elizabeth, offered him comfort and pride and encouragement that should have come from me. The realization broke something in my chest. I was crying. Actually crying, tears streaming down my face. Dominic Hale, who prided himself on control, on never showing weakness, falling apart in a shabby hallway because a stranger loved my son better than I did. I backed away before they could discover me, couldn't face the questions, couldn't explain what I was doing there, wasn't ready for Noah to see his father spying on him, wasn't ready to confront my own massive failures as a parent. I made it outside, gulped autumn air like a drowning man, pulled myself together because that's what I did. That's what I'd been doing for 8 years, compartmentalizing, controlling, pretending the gaping holes in my life were normal, were manageable, were anything other than catastrophic. But I couldn't leave, couldn't walk away without knowing more. So I waited. 45 minutes later, the building's front door opened. Students trickled out in small groups, laughing and talking. Then Noah emerged with Ms. Wells beside him. They were easy together, comfortable. She said something that made him laugh, a real laugh that lit up his whole face. She ruffled his hair affectionately, a maternal gesture that should have warmed me, but instead felt like another indictment. "Same time Thursday?" she asked. "Wouldn't miss it. Thanks, Ms. Wells, for everything." The gratitude in his voice, the genuine affection. When was the last time he'd spoken to me like that? She watched him walk away, her expression soft with what looked like maternal pride. Only when he disappeared around the corner did she turn and notice me standing there. Her expression shifted immediately, cautious, professional, assessing. "Can I help you?" Polite but guarded. I stepped forward, drawing on every ounce of corporate armor I'd spent decades building. "I'm Dominic Hale, Noah's father." Recognition flashed across her face, followed by something else. Surprise? Judgment? I couldn't quite read it. "Mr. Hale," she extended her hand, firm handshake, steady eye contact. "I'm Adrienne Wells, Noah's music teacher at Ashford. I didn't realize Ashford's music program extended to this location." The edge in my voice was unintentional. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe I needed to make this her fault somehow, needed to find a target for the shame eating me alive. She caught the edge. Her spine straightened. "It doesn't. This is my personal time. I run a volunteer after-school program for students who want additional instruction." "I see. And how long has my son been attending your personal program?" "About 8 months. 8 months. Nearly an entire school year." Noah had been coming here, learning piano, preparing for auditions, building a relationship with this woman, all while I sat in my office 70 floors above the city, completely oblivious. "I'm curious," I said, and my voice had gone cold, defensive. Why I was never informed that my son was participating in extracurricular activities with a teacher. Alone, in an unsupervised facility. The words came out worse than I'd intended. Uglier. Accusatory in a way that made her eyes flash with anger. "Unsupervised?" Her voice stayed level, but fire burned underneath. "There are 12 students in this program, Mr. Hale, and I informed the school administration as required by Ashford's policies. If you weren't aware, perhaps you should check with the activities coordinator, or read the weekly emails parents receive about student involvement. Direct hit. I'd never read those emails, never even opened them. Furthermore, she continued, warming to her theme, Noah is 16, not 6. He's capable of choosing his own extracurricular activities, and this facility may not be the Plaza Hotel, but it has heart, something your son clearly needed. Excuse me? You're excused. She turned to leave. I caught her arm without thinking. She stiffened immediately, and I released her like I'd touched fire. Wait, I'm trying to understand why my son felt he needed to hide this from me. She turned back, studying me with those intelligent eyes. Some of the anger softened, but wariness remained. Maybe because every time he's tried to talk to you about music, about his mother, about anything that actually matters, you're in a meeting, or on a call, or traveling to Tokyo or London, or wherever billionaires go to avoid their real lives. Each word landed like a physical blow. You don't know anything about my relationship with my son. I know he eats dinner alone every night. I know he hasn't had a real conversation with you in months. I know he's applying to Juilliard and Curtis Institute, and you don't even know he plays piano. The ground tilted beneath me. He's applying to music conservatories? Early decision, auditions in 6 weeks. He's exceptionally talented, Mr. Hale, genuinely gifted, but he's terrified to tell you because he thinks you'll call it a waste of time and force him into business school. I would never, wouldn't you? She stepped closer, and I could see she was angry now, really angry. When's the last time you asked him what he wants, what he dreams about? When's the last time you really saw him? The silence stretched between us. I had no answer because there was no good answer. Her expression shifted. The anger faded into something worse. Pity. Noah is an extraordinary young man, she said quietly. Sensitive, talented, kind. He's dealing with grief you've never helped him process because you've never processed it yourself. So he found another way. Through music, through his mother's legacy, and yes, through me, because I was there and you weren't. The truth of it destroyed me. But pride, stupid, pointless pride, made me defensive. You seem very invested in my son, Ms. Wells. Should I be concerned about the nature of your interest? I regretted the words the instant they left my mouth. Her eyes went cold, colder than I'd known eyes could go. How dare you? Her voice was quiet but vibrated with fury. I am a teacher who saw a student drowning and threw him a lifeline. If that makes you uncomfortable, that says everything about you and nothing about me. She stepped closer, close enough that I could see the gold flecks in her brown eyes, smell her perfume, something subtle and warm. I have spent 8 months helping your son find himself, helping him honor his mother's memory, giving him a space to be vulnerable and creative and real. And you swoop in with your suspicion and your billion-dollar ego, trying to make it dirty. I didn't mean you did, because in your world, everything's a transaction, isn't it? Everything has an angle. Everyone wants something. But here's what you can't buy, Mr. Hale. I don't want your money. I don't want your influence. I don't want anything except what's best for Noah. And right now, I'm not sure that's you. She walked away, leaving me standing there in the fading afternoon light. I watched her go, this fierce, principled woman who'd just eviscerated me with nothing but truth, and felt something shift in my chest. She was magnificent, completely unimpressed by my wealth or status, protective of Noah in a way that should have made me grateful, but instead highlighted every way I'd failed. And she was absolutely, devastatingly right about everything. I didn't sleep that night, couldn't stop replaying the confrontation, Noah's music, Adrian Wells's words, the look on her face when I'd implied something inappropriate about her care for my son. I sat in my home office, the one that overlooked Central Park, filled with expensive furniture and awards I barely remembered receiving, and finally did what I should have done years ago. I searched my email for communications from Ashford Academy, found hundreds of unread messages, weekly newsletters I'd never opened, parent-teacher conference requests I'd ignored or delegated to Patricia, progress reports I'd skimmed at best. From 3 months ago, student showcase featuring Noah Hale, piano performance. I'd never seen it, never knew it existed. From 5 months ago, Noah Hale, selected for advanced music theory. Recommendation from Ms. A. Wells. Never acknowledged it, never even noticed. From 8 months ago, new volunteer music program, led by Ms. Adrienne Wells. I'd been copied on everything, every single communication. The school had done exactly what they were supposed to do. I was the one who hadn't done my job. I searched for Adrienne Wells next. Her faculty page at Ashford showed impressive credentials. Master's degree in music education from Columbia, bachelor's from Howard, 5 years at Ashford with glowing student reviews. Ran the volunteer program in addition to her regular teaching load. A local news article from 2 years ago featured her. Teacher creates free music program for underserved students. The photo showed her surrounded by a diverse group of kids, all of them looking at her with the same expression Noah had worn: admiration, trust, affection. She wasn't just Noah's teacher, she was genuinely dedicated to helping students, making a difference in their lives in ways that had nothing to do with money or prestige. And I'd accused her of having ulterior motives. God, I was an idiot. I pulled out my phone, typed a message to Noah. Can we have breakfast tomorrow? I'd like to talk. Stared at it, too formal. Deleted it. Tried again. I saw you play today. You're incredible. Why didn't you tell me? Too accusatory. Deleted. Finally settled on, I miss you. Can we talk tomorrow morning? My finger hovered over send for a full minute before I pressed it. The 3 dots appeared immediately. Noah was awake, looking at his phone. Then they disappeared. No response came. I sat there until dawn, watching my phone, waiting for a reply that never arrived. At 7 a.m. I went to the kitchen, gave the chef the morning off, decided I'd make Noah breakfast myself. Elizabeth used to make pancakes every Sunday. Fluffy, perfect pancakes with fresh berries and real maple syrup. Noah would help, flour on his nose, laughing when the first attempt always stuck to the pan. I hadn't made pancakes since she died. Pulled out the mixing bowl, found a recipe online. Tried to remember what Elizabeth had done, how she'd made something so simple look so effortless. The first batch burned. The second batch was somehow both raw in the middle and crispy on the edges. The third batch set off the smoke detector. Did you declare war on the kitchen, or is the kitchen winning? I spun around. Noah stood in the doorway, hair mussed from sleep, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt from some band I didn't recognize. I was attempting breakfast. Attempting is generous, but he was almost smiling. Patricia said you wanted to see me. I wanted to make you breakfast. Your mother used to... I stopped. We didn't talk about Elizabeth. Hadn't in years. It was an unspoken rule I'd established and enforced through silence. But Adrienne's words echoed. He's dealing with grief you've never helped him process because you've never processed it yourself. Your mother used to make pancakes, I finished, every Sunday. You'd help and you'd always get flour everywhere. Noah's expression shifted, surprised, cautious. I remember. I'm terrible at it, apparently. Yeah, you really are. He moved to the counter, surveyed the damage. Want help, or should we just order from Mom's favorite diner? The one on Amsterdam? They're still there. Still make the blueberry pancakes she loved. We ordered, sat at the kitchen island while we waited. Awkward silence stretched between us. I'd negotiated billion-dollar deals, faced down hostile boards, given keynote speeches to thousands. But I didn't know how to talk to my own son. Finally, I just said it. I followed you yesterday. Noah froze. What? To the Performing Arts Center. I heard you play. His expression closed off immediately, defensive, hurt. So you were spying on me. I was worried. You've been secretive and I didn't know. I haven't been secretive, Dad. I just stopped telling you things because you never listened. The truth of it was a knife between my ribs. You're right. The words felt foreign in my mouth. When was the last time I'd admitted being wrong? I haven't been present. I haven't been the father you deserved, especially after your mom died. Noah's eyes welled up at the mention of Elizabeth. Don't. I need to say this. I threw myself into work because I didn't know how to handle losing her. It felt easier to bury everything in meetings and acquisitions than to actually feel what I was feeling. And in doing that, I lost you too. You think I didn't lose her? His voice cracked, raw with 8 years of unprocessed grief. She was my mom. She's the one who taught me to play. She's the one who made me love music. And when she died, you got rid of her piano like it never mattered." The accusation hit hard because it was true. I'd had Elizabeth's piano moved to storage 3 months after her funeral. Couldn't stand seeing it, couldn't handle the reminder, had told myself I was protecting Noah from painful memories when really I was protecting myself. I had nothing left of her, Noah continued, tears flowing freely now, until Ms. Wells helped me find it again. Silence fell between us. Heavy with years of loss and loneliness, neither of us had known how to bridge. The food arrived. We ate slowly, carefully, like people learning how to be in the same room together. Finally, I said, "Tell me about Juilliard." Noah's head snapped up. "How did you—" "Ms. Wells told you. She mentioned you're auditioning, that you're talented. Are you going to tell me it's stupid?" The words came out defensive, prepared for disappointment. That I should study business instead? That music isn't a real career? Is that what you think I'd say? Isn't it? I set down my fork, looked at my son, really looked at him, for maybe the first time in years. Your mother was most alive when she played. It wasn't her career, but it was her soul, the thing that made her who she was. If you have that same gift, that same passion, then it's not stupid. It's sacred. Noah's face crumpled. Tears he'd been holding back for who knows how long finally breaking free. "I want to hear you play," I said. "Really hear you, not just glimpse it through a doorway. Will you let me come to your next rehearsal?" Long pause. He studied me, like he was searching for the catch, the angle, the inevitable disappointment. "Why now? You've had 16 years. Fair question. Brutal question. "Because I've been asleep for 8 of them, and yesterday you and Ms. Wells woke me up." Noah wiped his eyes, considered. "Thursday, 4 p.m., Riverside Arts Center. I'll be there. Promise?" The question broke my heart. How many promises had I made and broken? How many times had work taken precedence over this boy who needed me? "I promise." He nodded slowly, testing my sincerity. "Okay." It was a start. Not forgiveness. I didn't deserve that yet. But a crack in the wall we'd built between us. I'd take it. 2 days later, I found myself walking through Ashford Academy's hallowed halls for the first time in years. The administration looked shocked to see me. Dominic Hale didn't make personal visits. He sent representatives, wrote checks, attended fundraising galas. But he didn't wander the actual school. I requested a meeting with Ms. Wells. The secretary's eyebrows rose, but she made the call. "Ms. Wells says she can see you during her free period. Room 204, 20 minutes. I spent those 20 minutes examining student artwork lining the hallways, reading posted achievements, seeing the school my son actually attended rather than the abstract institution I funded. Room 204 had Adrian Wells's name on a small placard. I knocked. "Come in." The classroom was warm, creative, more student artwork, instruments carefully arranged in one corner, quotes about music and life covering one wall. A baby grand piano. Nowhere near as grand as the one Noah had played, but well-maintained and obviously loved. Adrian stood by her desk, professional but cool, guard firmly in place. "Mr. Hale, what can I do for you?" Straight to business, no pleasantries. I'd burned that bridge. "I came to apologize. What I implied the other day was inexcusable." She waited. "Didn't make it easy." "Good. I didn't deserve easy. You've done more for my son in 8 months than I've done in 8 years. You saw what he needed, and you gave it to him freely, generously. And I attacked you for it because I was ashamed of my own failures." Apology noted. Still ice, still distant, deserved. "I also wanted to thank you for caring about Noah, for pushing him, for keeping his mother's memory alive through music when I was too much of a coward to even speak her name." Something softened fractionally in her expression. "I told Noah about the auditions, about Juilliard. And I want to support him, however I can. I'm attending his Thursday rehearsal." Now surprise. Genuine surprise. Noah agreed to that. Tentatively, I think he's waiting for me to disappoint him again. Wouldn't blame him if he did. Adrian leaned against her desk, studied me with those penetrating eyes that seemed to see straight through every defense. "Can I ask you something, Mr. Hale?" "Dominic, please." "Dominic, why now? What changed?" I considered deflecting, giving some surface answer, but she deserved honesty. I heard him play, really play, and I realized I'd been so focused on giving him everything money could buy that I never asked what he actually needed. I've been a checkbook, not a father. She nodded slowly. Self-awareness is a start. I want to do better. I need to, but I don't know how. The admission felt like exposure, vulnerability. I hadn't shown anyone since Elizabeth died. I don't know how to talk to him about things that matter, about his mother, about grief, about dreams and fears and all the things fathers and sons are supposed to discuss. Adrian was quiet for a long moment. Then, "My father died when I was 12. I looked up, surprised by the personal revelation. Cancer, quick and brutal, and my mother. She paused, old pain flickering across her face. She shut down, couldn't handle her own grief, much less help me with mine. So I learned to grieve alone, to hide my pain so I wouldn't burden her with it. Her voice stayed even, but I could hear the hurt underneath. By the time I was Noah's age, we were strangers living in the same house. We never recovered that relationship. She died 5 years ago, and we'd barely spoken in years. I never got to tell her I understood, that I forgave her, that I just needed her to try. I'm so sorry. I'm telling you this because I see Noah doing what I did, hiding his real self to protect you from, I don't know, his needs, his pain, the reminder of what you lost. But here's the thing, Dominic. He needs you to be the one who shows up, who asks the hard questions, who can handle his grief and his joy and all the messy, complicated stuff in between. What if I can't? What if I don't know how? Then you learn. You try. You fail. You try again. That's what parenting is. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. She moved closer, still maintaining professional distance, but warmer than before. Noah's been coming to me for 8 months, asking questions about his mom, asking what I think she'd say about his music, his choices, his life. And I help however I can because that's what teachers do. But Dominic, I didn't know Elizabeth. You did. He needs your memories, your stories, your grief shared, not buried. The use of my first name felt intimate, a shift in the dynamic between us. I wouldn't know where to start. Start with the piano, ask him to play something his mother loved, share a memory about her, let yourself feel it, let him see you feel it. Show him that grief doesn't mean you loved her wrong, it means you loved her right. The silence stretched between us, charged somehow, different from our first confrontation. She was close enough now that I could see the gold flecks in her eyes, close enough to notice the small scar on her left cheekbone, close enough to realize she wasn't just beautiful, she was extraordinary. You really care about him, I said quietly. I care about all my students, but Noah especially. A small smile touched her lips. Noah especially. He reminds me of myself at that age, talented but scared, grieving but trying to be strong for everyone else. He needed someone to tell him it's okay to want something different than what's expected. It's okay to choose passion over practicality. You're a remarkable teacher. I'm an adequate teacher who shows up. That's all Noah needs from you too, Dominic. Just show up. Our eyes held. Something passed between us. Understanding maybe. Recognition. The sense that this woman saw me more clearly in 2 conversations than most people had in years. Adrian stepped back. Professional distance restored. Was there anything else? No, thank you. For the advice. For everything you've done for Noah. For seeing us both clearly enough to speak truth we needed to hear. See you Thursday, then. Thursday. As I left, I glanced back. She was watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Thursday came. I arrived at Riverside Performing Arts Center at 3:45, 15 minutes early, nervous in a way I hadn't been since my first major investor pitch. Noah was already inside, warming up. He did a visible double-take when he saw me. You came. I said I would. Small nod. Still guarded, but there was hope underneath. Ms. Wells should be here soon. We sat in awkward silence until Adrian arrived at 3:58. She gave me a professional nod. Mr. Hale. Ms. Wells. But something passed between us, awareness from our conversation, the beginning of something. She turned her attention to Noah. Ready to work on the Rachmaninoff? Ready. I sat in the back of the auditorium while they worked, watched my son play pieces I'd never heard him attempt, watched Adrian teach, patient but demanding, encouraging but honest, drawing out the best in him through careful guidance. This passage, she said at one point, Rachmaninoff wrote it after a devastating personal loss. He channeled grief into something beautiful. You know that feeling, Noah. You've lived it. Don't hide from it in the music. Use it. Noah played the passage again. This time it was devastating, raw. 8 years of loss poured into notes and silence. My throat tightened. My son was taking his pain and making it into art. When the piece ended, Adrian said quietly, That's what Juilliard needs to hear. The technical skill is there. You've always had that. But this is you. This is real. Noah looked to the back of the auditorium. To me. I stood. Walked down the aisle, my footsteps echoing in the space. Noah tensed, uncertain. I reached the stage, looked up at my son. Your mother would have been so proud. I am so proud. Noah's face crumpled. Really? Really, I've been an idiot, missing this, missing you, missing who you're becoming. Father and son moment. I climbed onto the stage, pulled him into a hug he didn't resist. Adrian stepped back, giving us space, but I caught her eye over Noah's shoulder, mouthed, Thank you. She smiled, genuine warmth that reached her eyes. After rehearsal, Noah left with some other students from the program. I walked to the parking lot with Adrian. He's incredible, I said. He is, and he's finally playing without fear, without holding back. Having you there, supporting him, it makes all the difference. I took your advice about sharing memories. We talked about Elizabeth last night, really talked for the first time in years. I told him about the first time I heard her play, how she'd practice at midnight when inspiration struck, how she'd play the same passage 50 times until it was exactly right. Adrian smiled. How did Noah react? He cried. I cried. We ordered pizza at 1 a.m. and looked through old photo albums we hadn't touched since she died. Told stories, laughed, grieved together. It was the best night we've had in 8 years. That's beautiful, Dominic. The ease with which she said my name, the warmth in her voice, something shifted in my chest. We reached the parking lot. I didn't want the conversation to end. Can I buy you coffee? The words came out before I'd fully thought them through. As a proper thank you. She hesitated. That's not necessary. I know, but I'd like to, if you're willing. She studied me, weighing something. 1 coffee. But you're not buying anything. I can purchase my own coffee. Small smile. Deal. We walked to a cafe 2 blocks from the Arts Center. Small place, clearly a neighborhood favorite, nothing like the places I usually frequented. We talked for 2 hours. She told me about growing up in Baltimore, working 3 jobs to pay for college, choosing teaching over more lucrative paths because of music. Teacher had changed her life when she was 13. I told her about building my company from nothing, about meeting Elizabeth at a charity event where she was performing, about how work became an escape that became a prison. I looked up one day and Noah was 16, I admitted. I'd missed everything. First day of high school, driver's license, all the moments that matter. You're here now. That's what matters. Because you shamed me into it. I didn't shame you. I confronted you with truth you already knew. There's a difference. Semantics. Accuracy. We sparred, but it was playful now. The anger from our first meeting had transformed into something else, something charged and electric and unexpected. We talked about music, art, politics, life. I was surprised by her breadth of knowledge. She'd read authors I'd never heard of, traveled to places I'd only seen from 5-star resorts, thought deeply about subjects I'd never considered. You're not what I expected, I admitted. What did you expect? The noble but naive teacher stereotype? The grateful recipient of charitable attention from her wealthy betters? I had the grace to look embarrassed. Maybe. I'm a person, Dominic. Complex, flawed, passionate about my work. I chose this life deliberately. I could have gone into performance, into arts administration, into a dozen fields that would have paid better. But I wanted to make a difference, and I do. Every single day. I'm beginning to see that. The cafe started closing. We'd been there so long that the staff was cleaning around us. I should go, Adrian said. Grading to finish. Right, of course. We walked to our cars. Hers was an older Honda, well-maintained but clearly driven hard. Can I see you again? I asked, outside of Thursday rehearsals. Direct. She appreciated directness. Why? Because I enjoy talking to you. Because you're fascinating. Because I'd like to get to know you better. Dominic, I'm Noah's teacher. I'm aware. This is complicated. Most worthwhile things are. She wanted to say yes. I could see it in the way she hesitated, the way her hand lingered on her car door. Let me think about it. Fair enough? I waited until she was safely in her car, watched her pull away. She glanced back. Our eyes met through the window. The pull between us was undeniable. Over the next 2 weeks, a pattern emerged. Thursday rehearsals became the highlight of my week. I'd sit in the back of the auditorium, watching Noah grow in confidence and skill, watching Adrian teach with a passion and dedication that made me examine my own life choices. Coffee after rehearsal became routine. Adrian stopped protesting, started suggesting places she loved. Small Ethiopian restaurants in Brooklyn, jazz clubs in Harlem, bookstores in the Village. We texted throughout the week, started with Noah updates, evolved into personal conversations about everything and nothing. She recommended books. I read them, surprised by how much. I enjoyed stepping outside my usual business biography comfort zone. I asked her advice on rebuilding my relationship with Noah, took every suggestion, implemented every idea, retrieved Elizabeth's piano from storage, had it professionally restored, tuned, polished until it looked like it had the day we'd bought it, surprised Noah with it in our living room. He cried, actually sobbed, sat down and played for 3 hours straight. I listened to every note, started declining meetings that conflicted with Noah's schedule, attended his school concerts for the first time in years, sat in the audience, watched him perform, felt pride so intense it hurt. The board was shocked. Patricia was delighted. It's good to see you living again, sir. Was that what I'd been doing? Just existing, not living? Adrian made me think about questions I'd avoided for years. We had dinner twice. I took her to an upscale restaurant the first time. She was completely comfortable, poised, held her own in conversations about wine and art like she'd been born to that world. The second time, she chose. A small place in her Brooklyn neighborhood, casual and loud and filled with people who knew her by name. I was out of my element, but I loved it. Loved seeing her in her world, relaxed and laughing, no professional mask required. We talked about childhood dreams and biggest regrets. What made us laugh, what kept us up at night, what we'd do differently if we could rewind our lives. Would you have still chosen teaching? I asked. Yes, absolutely. Even knowing the financial struggles, the bureaucracy, the way society undervalues what we do. I'd choose it again. Why? Because I matter to my students, not my money or my connections or my last name. Just me. What I can teach them, how I can help them grow. That's rare, Dominic. That's valuable in a way your world doesn't always recognize. She was right. My world valued transactions, not transformations. One evening in late November, we walked through Central Park after dinner. First snow of the season starting to fall. This is nice, she said. It is. Also complicated. Still complicated, yes. She stopped walking, looked at me in the lamplight. What are we doing? What do you want to be doing? I asked you first. Fair. I took a breath. Honesty. I want to spend time with you. I want to know everything about you. I want... Rain started. Not snow, after all. Cold November rain that came suddenly and soaked us in seconds. We ran for cover, ended up laughing under a bridge, both of us drenched. I tucked wet hair behind her ear. The gesture felt intimate, familiar, right. Adrian. This is complicated, she whispered, but she didn't move away. I know. Noah has to come first. I agree completely. I'm his teacher. For 7 more months, then he graduates. You're a billionaire. I'm a public school teacher. Our worlds are completely different. You say that like it matters. doesn't it? You live in a two-unit penthouse. I have a rent-controlled apartment in Brooklyn. You vacation in Monaco. I drive to Baltimore once a year. My world is lonely and hollow, I interrupted, full of people who want something from me. Your world is rich with purpose and connection and meaning. I know which one I admire. I know which one I want to be part of. She searched my face. You really mean that? Every word. We were close now, close enough that I could count her eyelashes, see the rain on her skin, feel the warmth of her despite the cold. I leaned in. She didn't pull back. Almost there. Almost. Her phone rang. We broke apart. She fumbled for it, flustered. I have to. School emergency. Funding issue with the program. Go, of course. She got into a cab, hand on the door, looking at me through the window, mouthed, soon. I nodded, watched her drive away. Soon. 6 weeks after that first Thursday rehearsal, Noah had his major mock audition, full performance in front of Adrian and 2 other music faculty from Ashford, preparing him for the pressure of the real Juilliard audition in January. I sat in the auditorium with Adrian, other faculty down front taking notes. Lights dimmed. Noah took his place at the piano. He performed his entire audition repertoire, Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C major, technically perfect, demonstrating his classical training. Chopin's Nocturne, Elizabeth's favorite, emotional, mature, heartbreaking. Rachmaninoff's Prelude in G minor, the devastating one, the one that required channeling real grief. During the Chopin, I felt my composure crumble. This was Elizabeth's piece, her soul in musical form, and Noah was playing it with a depth and understanding that transcended his 16 years. My hand trembled on the armrest. Adrian noticed. Without a word, she covered my hand with hers. Comfort, connection, understanding. I turned my palm up, interlaced our fingers. She let me. We sat like that through the entire Rachmaninoff. In the darkness, hands clasped, both fully aware this meant something. Noah finished. The final notes hung in the air. Silence. Then, the faculty erupted in applause. Lights came up. Adrian and I separated our hands, but the intimacy lingered like perfume. The faculty gave notes, all glowing. Conservatory ready. Exceptional emotional maturity. Clear admit if you perform like this. Noah was elated. He looked to me in the back row. I stood, applauded, pride written all over my face. After the faculty left, Noah departed with friends. Adrian and I walked to the parking lot in the darkness. Neither of us mentioned the hand-holding, but both of us felt it. He's going to get in, Adrian said, because of you. Because of him, and because he finally had support from people who matter. We reached her car. Autumn had given way to early winter. The streetlights created intimate pools of light. Adrian, she turned. I was closer than she expected. This thing happening between us, Dominic. I need you to know it's not gratitude. It's not convenience. You've woken something in me I thought died with Elizabeth. Her breath caught. I think about you constantly. When I'm in meetings, when I'm with Noah, when I'm trying to sleep. You've become essential. This is complicated, she said, but it sounded less convincing than before. I know, but I also know I've never felt this way. Not this intensity, not this sense of rightness. I reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. I'm scared, she admitted quietly, of this being wrong, of hurting Noah, of being another thing in your life that's temporary, something you'll discard when the novelty wears off. You could never be temporary. I leaned in. She should stop this, should maintain boundaries. But she didn't. Almost there, breath mingling in the cold air. Then her phone rang. School calling. Another emergency. Moment broken. She stepped back, flustered. I know. Go. She got in her car, hand on the door, looked at me through the window. Soon, she mouthed again. I nodded, watched her drive away. The promise hung between us. Soon. 2 days later, over dinner, Noah asked, Dad, are you seeing someone? I nearly choked on my water. What? You're different, happier, checking your phone constantly like a teenager. So, are you? Careful territory. Would that bother you? He considered. I don't know. I mean, it's been 8 years since Mom. You deserve to be happy, but it would be weird. Weird how? Seeing you with someone who's not Mom. Heavy silence. Your mother will always be irreplaceable, I said carefully. But she wouldn't want me to be alone forever. She'd want me to live, to be happy. I know. Logically, I know that. It's just complicated? Yeah. I took a breath. Honesty time. There is someone who's become important to me. Noah tensed slightly. Who? Someone you know, someone who cares about you very much. Understanding dawned on his face. Ms. Wells? Yes. Rapid changes in his expression. Surprise, processing, consideration. Ms. Wells, my teacher, Ms. Wells. I know how it sounds. That's actually kind of awesome. Now I was surprised. It is. Dad, Ms. Wells is amazing. She's the reason I'm auditioning for Juilliard. She's the reason we're actually talking again. If you're going to be with anyone, she's... Yeah, I approve. Relief flooded through me. But, Noah continued, serious now, you can't screw this up. She's important. To me and apparently to you. So if you're doing this, you have to do it right. I intend to. Good. Because if you hurt her, I'm on her side. I laughed. Actually laughed. Noted. So are you like, together? Not yet. It's complicated. She's your teacher. There are boundaries. She won't be my teacher forever. I graduate in 7 months. That's what I keep telling her. Noah grinned. You've really thought about this. More than you know. Brief silence then. For what? I think Mom would like her. My throat tightened. You think so? Yeah, Ms. Wells loves music like Mom did. She cares about people the same way. She made you come back to life. Mom would definitely approve. Most important blessing I could receive. The next day, I texted Adrian. Noah knows. He approves. Have dinner with me this weekend. Please, she called immediately. Noah knows. He figured it out. Asked me directly. I wasn't going to lie. And he said, quote, that's actually kind of awesome. Her laugh, warm, relieved. He did not. He did. He also threatened to take your side if I mess this up. Smart kid. The smartest. So, dinner? Pause. I could hear her thinking. Yes, yes, yes. I'm tired of fighting this, Dominic. Saturday night, but somewhere private. I don't need society photographers documenting our first date. I know just the place. Saturday evening, I transformed my penthouse. Candles everywhere. Elizabeth's piano in the living room. Symbolic, meaningful. Chef prepared an incredible meal, but I sent him home. Wanted privacy. Adrienne arrived at 7. She wore a deep blue dress that made her skin glow, her natural hair in soft curls. Absolutely stunning. I'd dressed down, dark slacks, dress shirt, no tie, more relaxed than she'd ever seen me. You look beautiful. You clean up well yourself. I gave her a tour. She admired the art collection with knowledge that surprised me, asked intelligent questions about pieces I'd bought more for investment than aesthetics. We had dinner on the terrace, Manhattan spread below us, city lights competing with stars. Conversation flowed easily, childhood stories, deferred dreams, what we'd do if money and career weren't factors. I wanted to be a concert pianist, Adrienne admitted. Had the talent maybe, but not the financial backing for that level of training. Teaching was practical, stable. Do you regret it? No, I found purpose. I make a real difference in students' lives. But sometimes I wonder what if. Play for me. What? Elizabeth's piano. I had it restored for Noah, but no one's played it tonight. I want to hear you. Dominic, please. We moved inside. She approached the piano reverently, ran her fingers over the keys. Then she played Debussy's Clair de Lune. Beautifully. Not virtuoso level like Noah, but soulful, full of emotion and understanding. I watched, mesmerized, not just by the music, but by her, completely lost in the moment, guard down, purely herself. She finished, opened her eyes to find me beside the piano. You're remarkable. I'm adequate at best. You're remarkable, I repeated. Talented, passionate, dedicated. You see potential in people and draw it out. You did it for Noah. You've done it for me. Dominic. I knelt beside the piano bench, eye level with her. I'm falling in love with you, Adrienne. I need you to know that before anything else happens. Her eyes filled with tears. This is fast. I know. And if you need time, I'll wait as long as necessary. but I also know what I feel. For the first time in 8 years, I feel truly alive. I'm scared, she whispered. Of what? That this is a moment, that when reality sets in, the difference in our worlds, the scrutiny, the complications, you'll realize I'm not worth the trouble. I took both her hands. Adrian, look at me. She did. You're the most real thing in my life. My world, the one you think is so different from yours, is filled with people who want something from me. Access, money, influence, connections. You're the only person who sees me. Just me. The father who failed his son. The widower who never properly grieved. The man who's been sleepwalking through life for 8 years. You see all of that and you haven't run. Tears slid down her cheeks. I don't care about society pages or what people think. I care about this, us, building something real with someone who knows me and still chooses to be here. I'm falling for you too, she admitted. I've been fighting it because it felt impossible. But Dominic, I can't promise I'll fit seamlessly into your world. I don't want to attend galas every weekend or make small talk with people who look down on teachers. I don't want you to fit. I want you to shake things up, make my world better, make me better. She cupped my face, studied me like she was memorizing this moment. Then she kissed me. Soft at first, testing, then deeper. Years of attraction, weeks of restraint, all releasing at once. I pulled her up from the bench. We stumbled toward the couch, hands exploring, her fingers in my hair, my hands on her waist, learning the shape of each other, breaking apart for air, foreheads touching. We should slow down, she breathed. We should, I agreed. Kissed her neck. She gasped. Dominic, tell me to stop and I will. She didn't tell me to stop. We moved to my bedroom. Everything felt heightened, the slide of fabric, the catch of breath, the whispered names. I was reverent, taking my time. She was bold, meeting my intensity with her own. You're sure? I asked, even as every part of me wanted this. I'm sure. I want this. I want you. What followed was electric. Every touch erased years of loneliness. They communicated with hands and breath what words couldn't capture. The connection between them was undeniable. Not just physical, but emotional, spiritual, a meeting of souls that had been searching without knowing what they sought. Afterward, they lay tangled together, city lights casting patterns across skin still flushed. He traced idle designs on her shoulder, marveling at the rightness of her presence. I haven't been with anyone since Elizabeth, he admitted quietly. I'm honored and terrified I won't measure up to her memory. You're not replacing her, he said fiercely. You're creating something new, something I didn't think I'd ever have again, something I didn't think I deserved. She traced his jaw. What are we doing, Dominic? Building something real, if you'll let me. I want to, but the real world exists outside this room. Then we'll face it together. They fell asleep intertwined. First peaceful sleep either had experienced in weeks. Morning came with soft light and coffee in bed. Lazy kisses and quiet conversation. I should go, she said eventually. Papers to grade. Stay. I can't hide in your penthouse forever. Why not? Playful but serious underneath. Because we both have responsibilities. Lives. Noah. At Noah's name. He knows, he approves, he threatened bodily harm if I mess this up. She laughed. He really is the best of you. Of both of us now, you've shaped him as much as I have. More, honestly. Tender moment. Then, practical Adrian. We need to be careful. I'm still his teacher. There are optics to consider. 7 more months until graduation. Can you wait 7 months to go public? I can wait forever if it means keeping you. Dramatic. True. They agreed to discretion until Noah's graduation. Navigate publicity together after. She left late morning. He watched from the window, unable to stop smiling. The next 6 weeks were stolen moments and secret joy. Thursday rehearsals remained professional. No physical contact, but loaded glances that spoke volumes. Weeknight dinners at her Brooklyn apartment. He learned to navigate the subway, dress casually, blend into her neighborhood. Weekend mornings at his penthouse when Noah stayed with friends. Stolen kisses in his car after rehearsals. Late-night phone calls when sleep wouldn't come. He met her friends, teachers, grad school crowd. They were skeptical at first. Billionaire dating their Adrian, but he won them over with genuine interest, self-deprecating humor, willingness to wash dishes at potlucks. She attended a charity gala with him as Noah's teacher, invited for his contribution to youth music programs. She handled his world with grace and intelligence. Afterward, "That's exhausting, everyone performing, no one being real." He agreed wholeheartedly. Christmas approached. Noah's Juilliard audition scheduled for mid-January. Dominic wanted to buy Adrian extravagant gifts. She refused. "I don't need diamonds or designer anything. I need you. Present, real, here. That's the gift." He gave her something personal instead, a recording of Elizabeth playing Chopin. "Noah doesn't know this exists, but I want you to have it. You brought her music back to our lives," she cried. Gave him a hand-bound book of her teaching philosophy and music theory notes. "This is me, my life's work. I want you to understand what I love." He read every word, fell deeper. New Year's Eve, they couldn't be together publicly. She was at a teacher party. He attended a society event with Noah. At midnight, they texted simultaneously, "Wish you were here." Unspoken resolution. Make this public when the time was right. January arrived with Juilliard audition day. Noah was terrified. Despite months of preparation, Dominic took the entire day off, unheard of in his company. Drove Noah to Lincoln Center personally. Adrian couldn't officially attend, not family, but she'd given Noah a pep talk the night before. "You're ready. Play from your heart. Your mother will be with you." In the car, "Is Ms. Wells coming?" Noah asked. "She can't. School day." "Oh," disappointment clear. "But she'll be thinking about you. We both will." Waiting room full of elite piano students from around the world. Noah's confidence wavered. Dominic pulled him aside. "Whatever happens in there, I'm proud of you. You've worked harder than anyone I know. You've honored your mother's legacy beautifully. And you've taught me what actually matters in life. No conservatory rejection can diminish any of that." "Thanks, Dad. I love you, son." First time he'd said it in years. Noah's eyes welled. "I love you too." Noah went in. Dominic waited. Agonizing 30 minutes. Noah emerged with an unreadable expression. "How did—" Noah grinned. "I nailed it, Dad, the Rachmaninoff especially. I felt Mom with me, and Ms. Wells and you. I played it perfectly." Relief and pride overwhelmed Dominic. He pulled Noah into a tight hug. "Can we call Ms. Wells?" "Absolutely." Video call. Adrian answered from her classroom during lunch break. Noah's excited recap, her joy matching theirs. Dominic watched them. His son, not ready to label it, but his heart knew. Later, Adrian came to the penthouse to celebrate. Noah had invited her. No more secrets. Pizza, sparkling cider, laughter about Noah's nervous moments. Noah eventually retreated to his room to text friends about the experience. Dominic and Adrian alone in the living room. "You did this," he said. "Noah did this. We all did it together." She curled into his side on the couch. Fit perfectly. "When he gets accepted," she corrected, "when he gets accepted and graduates, what happens to us?" "What do you want to happen?" "I want permanence, forever. You in my life for good." "Forever's a long time, Dominic." "Not long enough." He kissed her temple. Content, complete. Late January brought Noah's acceptance letter. Juilliard accepted. Celebration, pure joy. Noah's future secured. But complication arrived with it. A society photographer caught Dominic and Adrian at a restaurant. Nothing scandalous, just dinner. But the intimate body language was clear. The photo appeared in a gossip column. Billionaire Dominic Hale's mystery woman. Sources say his son's teacher. Speculation began. Some innocent, much of it ugly. Gold digger targeting grieving widower through his son. Inappropriate teacher-parent relationship. Using student access for social climbing. Adrian saw it, was devastated. Called Dominic, "We need to cool things off." "What? No. You saw the article. People think I'm using Noah to get to you and your money. People are idiots who don't know anything about us. We know the truth. Do we? Dominic, maybe they're right. Maybe I did cross professional lines. I'm his teacher and I'm sleeping with his father. That's ethically questionable at best." "Don't. Don't let them poison what we have. I need space to think clearly. Please respect that." She hung up, wouldn't answer subsequent calls. Dominic spiraled, attacked the publication through lawyers threatening defamation. Noah noticed immediately. "Where's Ms. Wells? She missed Thursday rehearsal. She never misses." "She's dealing with something. The article, I saw it, it's complete garbage." "Language. It's true though. Anyone who actually knows you two knows it's real." She's scared of judgment, of being seen as less than, as someone who doesn't belong in my world. That's stupid. She's the best person I know, better than 90% of the people in your world. Truth, undeniable truth. "How do I fix this, Noah?" His son considered seriously. "Show her she matters more than what anyone else thinks. Grand gesture, Dad. Make it count." 1 week later, Ashford Academy's senior music showcase, Noah's final major performance before graduation. Last showcase as a high school student. Adrienne would be there. Professional obligation as music department faculty. They hadn't spoken in 7 days, longest week of Dominic's life. He attended, saw her across the auditorium. She looked tired, sad. Performance began. Multiple students. Noah scheduled last. Showcase finale, the honor position. When Noah's turn came, he walked to the piano, then stopped, turned to face the audience. "Before I play, I have something to say." Audience quieted. Adrienne looked concerned. This wasn't in the program. "Music saved my life," Noah began. "After my mom died, I lost myself. Buried who I was because feeling anything hurt too much. But someone saw through that protective shell. Ms. Adrienne Wells." Adrienne's hand covered her mouth. "Ms. Wells didn't just teach me piano. She taught me it's okay to grieve, okay to feel deeply, okay to want something different than what's expected of me. She gave me permission to honor my mom's memory through music. She gave me back my father by showing him what I actually needed. And she asked for nothing in return except that I be my absolute best self." He looked directly at her. "Some people have said terrible things about Ms. Wells lately, questioned her motivations, her character, her integrity. I'm here to say they don't know her. She's the most selfless, dedicated, genuinely good person I've ever met. She changed my life. She changed my father's life. And I won't let anyone diminish that." Applause from students and parents who knew the real story. This performance is for her, and for my mom, and for my dad, who finally learned to show up. Noah played. It was transcendent. Every emotion of the past year poured into music. Technical perfection merged with raw emotional truth. Dominic didn't watch Noah. He watched Adrienne. Tears streaming down her face. Performance ended to a standing ovation. But Noah wasn't finished. He motioned to his father. "Dad, come up here." Dominic, confused, joined him on stage. Noah handed him the microphone. "Your turn." Dominic faced the auditorium. Hundreds of people, including Adrienne in the 3rd row, tears still falling. He spoke directly to her. "I've built a billion-dollar company from nothing, negotiated deals that moved entire markets, made decisions affecting thousands of lives worldwide. I thought that defined success." His eyes never left hers. But I was wrong. Success is my son playing piano with his whole heart because someone believed in him enough to nurture that gift. Success is learning to grieve honestly instead of running from pain. Success is finding love again when I thought I'd never feel it. Murmurs rippled through the audience, realization dawning. "Adrienne Wells, you woke me up, showed me what truly matters in life, and if people want to judge that, let them. Because I'm done hiding. I'm done pretending. I love you, completely, permanently, regardless of what anyone thinks." Gasps, whispers. Adrienne frozen in her seat. "I know this is public. I know it's dramatic. But you deserve someone who isn't afraid to claim you in front of the entire world. So here I am, claiming you, if you'll have me." Silence. Everyone waiting. Adrienne stood, walked to the stage with deliberate steps, climbed them with her head high, faced him, still crying but smiling now. "You're an idiot. I know. This is wildly inappropriate. I know that too. I'm going to hear about this from administration for months. I'll handle it. You can't fix everything with money, Dominic. I'm not using money. I'm using truth. I love you. Do you love me? She cupped his face with both hands. You know I do. Then nothing else matters. She kissed him. In front of hundreds of people, students cheered. Most parents applauded. Faculty looked shocked but not entirely disapproving. Noah, still at the piano, grinned. Told you, grand gesture. They broke apart, Adrian laughing and crying simultaneously. You're impossible. And you're stuck with me now. I guess I am. Dominic addressed the audience again. Apologies for hijacking the showcase. Noah, want to play us out? Noah played one final piece, Claire de Lune. The piece Adrienne had played for Dominic on their first real date. Dominic and Adrienne stood together, hand in hand. No more hiding, no more secrets. As music swelled, Dominic whispered, Move in with me. After Noah graduates, build a life with me. That's extremely fast. We've wasted enough time being careful, she considered. Ask me again after graduation. I will, every single day until you say yes. Deal. 6 months later, late summer, Noah's high school graduation ceremony, Dominic and Adrienne sat together, publicly acknowledged as a couple. Initial scandal had faded quickly. People realized it was genuine once they saw them together. Easy affection, intellectual equals, clearly deeply in love. Ashford administration had an awkward conversation with Adrienne. She offered to resign. They declined emphatically. She was too valuable, and the relationship had begun after final grades were submitted anyway. Society pages occasionally took shots. Dominic and Adrienne learned to ignore them. Noah gave the valedictorian speech, thanked his father, thanked Ms. Wells publicly, Adrienne privately, thanked his late mother for the gift of music. After the ceremony, celebration at Dominic's penthouse. Adrienne's teacher friends, Noah's classmates, even some of Dominic's corporate colleagues who'd accepted her. Patricia pulled Adrienne aside. I've worked for Mr. Hale for 18 years. Never seen him this happy. Thank you. He makes me happy too. I know. That's why you're perfect together. Evening wound down. Guests departed. Just Dominic, Adrienne, and Noah remained. They sat together at Elizabeth's piano. Noah played softly, improvising something beautiful. Mom would like this, Noah said. The three of us. Family. Dominic's arm around Adrienne. She would. I'm glad you followed me that day, Dad. Best stalking ever. Dominic laughed. Best detective work of my life. What's next for you, Noah? Adrienne asked. Summer plans before Juilliard? Actually, I was thinking about teaching at your volunteer program, passing on what you taught me. Adrienne's eyes filled. I would love that. Me too. Want to help kids the way you helped me. The cycle continuing. Legacy building. Noah eventually headed to bed. Early flight to music camp in the morning. Dominic and Adrienne moved to the terrace alone. City lights below, stars above. Remember when you said to ask you again after graduation? Dominic said. She smiled. I remember. Noah graduated today. He did. Dominic pulled out a small velvet box, opened it to reveal an elegant ring, sapphire surrounded by diamonds. Adrienne Wells. Will you marry me? Build a life with me? Be my partner in everything? She took the ring, examined it carefully. Sapphire? Elizabeth's was diamond. This is uniquely yours, like you. You really thought about this. I've thought about almost nothing else for months. She slid the ring on. Perfect fit. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He kissed her deeply, full of promise and future. I love you, he whispered. I love you too, even though you're dramatic and impossible. Especially because I'm dramatic and impossible, she laughed. Especially. They stood wrapped in each other. The billionaire who'd learned what truly mattered, the teacher who'd taught him, the son who'd brought them together. Through the terrace doors, Elizabeth's piano was visible in the living room. A photo on top, young Elizabeth at that same piano, smiling radiantly. Beside it, new photo, Dominic, Adrienne, and Noah together, laughing, alive, real. Different love, same foundation of music, family, and second chances. Dominic looked at the piano, then at Adrienne. Thank you. For what? For seeing me. For loving Noah. For teaching us both how to actually live. Thank you for following him that day. For being brave enough to change. Best decision I ever made. Second best, she corrected, kissing him softly. Second best? Best decision was saying yes just now. He grinned, spun her in a circle. They danced on the terrace to music only they could hear. Below, the city pulsed with infinite life. Above, stars witnessed their promise. Inside, at Elizabeth's restored piano, two photographs stood together, past and future, grief and joy, loss and love. The ending wasn't really an ending. It was a beginning.